Okay, Netivot Shalom Toldot. We're getting into Sefer Bereshit. ואלה תולדות יצחק ben Avraham, right? These are the offspring, I think, or you can say the outcomes of Yitzchak, the son of Abraham. Abraham הוליד Yitzchak, right? So there's so many mefarshim there. They ask the question, if you're telling me already that this is Yitzchak ben Avraham, why you need to tell me that he's the son of Abraham, that Abraham give birth to him, right? Abraham הוליד Yitzchak. Like, why? It was enough to say these are the Toldot of Yitzchak. Like we said, Toldot Noach, Toldot Yaakov, right? When we didn't mention the name of their father. So why the Torah write Abraham הוליד Yitzchak, like Abraham give birth to Yitzchak? It seems to be extra or not needed. Because if it says already that Yitzchak is the son of Abraham, then we know he's his son. It says, והנה בבאר אברהם, from the Maran HaSaba Kadosh Mislonim, זכותו הגן עלינו. He bring the Midrash from Bereshit Rabbah on the Pasuk, ואלה תולדות יצחק. He said, האבות עטרה לבנים, like the fathers are the crowns for the sons, and the sons are crowns for the father. So he said, the fathers crown to the sons, as it says in Mishlei, ותפארת בנים אבותם, like the glory of the sons are fathers, and the banim are crowned for the fathers. As it says, ateret zkenim bnei banim, like the ateret, it's the crown or the glory of the elder ones are the sons of the sons, like the grandchildren. And he explained the Midrash. And he's like the main thing of his words. He says the inet chilat avdut laHashem itbarach. The first thing in our in slavery to Hashem or worshiping to Hashem is to accept that with faith, to be like a really good servant that accepting everything and is doing anything that is needed. Agam she'en adam shum hasaga v'tam yaseh avodato, right? Even if the person doesn't understand like what he is doing, and he doesn't get like a good taste from it or a sweetness from that, still he needs to do it. Why? Because a man got to do what a man got to do. And this is like a very trusty or a loyal slavery, which is not the same in tole avdut, if we are depending, like if we are making a condition for worshiping Hashem, with whatever we want to have, a benefit, a reward, whatever, etc. It's not a very loyal one. Therefore, it needs to beginning in Avodat Hashem with faith. To have faith and to believe and to know that the slavery or whatever task that Hashem gave us, the Adon, the master, that's good for our benefit. This is for our benefits. Mm-hmm. And that's like our main vitality. And this is the reason why we came down to this world. So we should serve Hashem with a very simple faith, whether if we feel the taste or whether if we don't. And then it says, ואחר כך מרחם עליו השם יתברך ונותן לו תענוג והשגה בעבדות. But then Hashem have mercy on us, and He's giving us to feel, to have sweet taste, to have pleasure from what we're doing, from the mitzvot, from the Torah, from the avodah. And this is, שזה נקרא בחינת כריתת ברית. It is like the covenant between us and Hashem. And this is what it says in Avraham, in Sefer Nehemiah. ומצאת את לבבו נאמן לפניך, and you find his heart loyal to you. Because at the beginning, Avraham was serving and worshiping Hashem with faith. And only after that, Hashem started to give him the benefits, the pleasure, and the achievement, the spiritual achievements. He says, אכן גם, but indeed, even after he already have the merit and he gained the pleasure in the avodah, he says, אין העבודה יכולה להתקיים בקביעות בדרך של תענוג והשגה. So said the avodah, serving Hashem, cannot really exist for a long time, just with the pleasure and the achievement, because sometimes from heaven they're taking it from us. So I guess it could be like some kind of addiction at the beginning. You suddenly feeling to feel the sweetness, and you want to have it the whole time. But it's impossible to have it the whole time, because sometimes they're taking it from us, and then we feel nothing, and then what? So in order for the work, for the avodah and worshiping Hashem will be consist, the person should hold in the two midot, in slavery to Hashem Yitbarach, with love, and also with fear, right? With love and fear, the two midot. And they are together, actually are bringing us to a perfection, right? Only together. And that was the midah of Yaakov Avinu, alav shalom. It was the midat Tiferet, right? To have Netzachot, Yesod, etc. Yesod is Yosef, right? So, Od, if I'm not wrong, is Aaron. So Tiferet, the big glory, is Yaakov Avinu, which is including Ahava, Ve'ira, love and fear. And therefore it's called the midat Emet, right? Emet. As it says in Sefer Micha, V'titen Emet leYaakov. Basher mitkemet lad, because true lasts forever, because this is the truth and nothing but the truth. And this is Yaakov, because you have both of the middle. So, for example, only fear is a lie. Only love is a lie. It's false. It doesn't work. But somebody have them both, that's the truth. Balance. That's the thing. And that was the middle of Yaakov Avinu. And it was the chosen one between the fathers. Right? And it says in Sfat Emet, Tikon La'ad, what does it mean that it will be forever? Because these two midot together, love and fear, these are the truths that last forever, which is not each and every midah by itself. It cannot fulfill, it cannot exist by itself for a long time. And according to that is Mefarish Devra Midrash, Ateret Kenim Nebanim, right? So we started with the crowning, the sons, or the crown for the father, father for the son, and for the older one, it's the sons of the sons, right? Deina Avram, Aita Midato Chesed Ve'ava, right? So Avram Midah was love and kindness. But you know that for every midah, we have the positive side and the negative side, right? So even with love and kindness, we have the false one. For example, Lot. Lot learned hospitality from Avraham Avinu, and when the angel came to Sodom, and the Sodom, the people wanted to hurt them, then Lot went outside and said, "I'll give you my daughters." This is stupidity. It's a kindness, but it's a false one. It's like really negative. What are you doing?
That's the Jews today.
Unfortunately, some of them, not all.
No, I know. I'm telling you, I know people like that.
Yeah. ומזה נולד Ishmael. So that's why Avraham Avinu had Ishmael, right? So Ishmael was taking the false love and kindness from Avraham Avinu, right? And then Yitzchak, his midah was gevura, fear and strength, right? And from that, the positive and the negative, both, right? Somebody can have a very, very negative strength or negative fear. So the garbage actually went to Esav. And only after that, Yaakov could be born, because his midah was in the mixture of both. Chesed u'gvura, but from the positive side, right? From Avram, which is the grandfather, and Yitzchak, his father, the strength, the gvura. And then the midah of the emtza will be Yaakov, right? So midat harachamim v'tiferet nekim, clean, without any false. And in order for Yaakov to be born and to be only positive, Avram should get or inherit backwards the yira, the fear from Yitzchak and the gvura, and Yitzchak inherit the love from Avram, and then they both can go to Yaakov, right? So Yaakov is the grandchild. This is what we started at the beginning. And that was the midah of Emet, Titen Emet leYaakov, which is including the two midot of Avram and Yitzchak. And this is the explanation for the pasuk, right? Ve'ele Toldot Yitzchak. These are the outcomes or the birth of Yitzchak, the son of Avram. Avram olidet Yitzchak, right? That prior that the Torah wrote, these are Toldot Yitzchak, right? U Yaakov, right? Shemidato titen emet leYaakov. And that's why it says, Ktiv ve'ele Toldot Yitzchak ben Avram, which he received the love and the kindness from Avram, and Avram gave birth to Yitzchak, which means it's a duality. He gave where he gave to Yitzchak, right? The love and the kindness, and then we could have Yaakov from Yitzchak Avinu. And according to that, now we can understand the inyan mechirat bechora leYaakov, selling the bechora, right? The privilege of the firstborn to Yaakov, right? He bought it from Esau. But it seems to be that, how is it possible? Bechora, firstborn, it's a fact of reality. If you burn first, you are the Bechora. You cannot buy. Can I buy the Kehuna from you, Mordechai? I know you will sell it to me, but I'm not going to be a Kohen, right?
I was gonna say how much.
Yeah,
I'll
so
give
you
you
can
50.
say, yeah,
$50, Kohen.
be a Kohen.
$50, Kohen.
I would say a lot more than that. Now Hashem's gonna punish me for even letting it come out of my mouth.
Chas v'chalila, chas v'chalila. Right? So it says, it's a fact of reality that the one that burned first, you have the bigger part from the father, right? As we learned that in inheritance, the firstborn actually take twice from the others, right? And according to what our sage says in Masechet Ketubot, when it says ve'et, it's come to lerabo to increase your brother, right? Ve'et achicha gadol, which means that inheritance, his honor, right, etc., because he has a bigger part from the father. And therefore, Esav bechor b'mitziut, it looks like, because after all, Esav was born first, right? He came out first. Yeah, it says that Rashi explained it's like you take a tube, you put something inside first, and then you put the second one. Who is coming first? The one that you put the second, he's coming out. So this is how we explain about Esav. But we see that Esav, he came out first, right? So he's the firstborn, and he got the Bechorah, right? So he says, and there, how can you sell it? How can he sell it? But explanation for that, it says that the Leidat Ishmael kodem leYitzchak, right? It says Ishmael was born before Yitzchak, right? Like around 13 years before. So it says not because
wait. You know, I was just thinking about this.
Yeah.
In last week's Parsha, it said that, or 2 weeks ago, Yishmael passed away. I think he was 137 years old when he passed away.
Yeah.
So that means that at that time that Yitzhak, would have been 13 years younger. He would have been 124.
Right.
But the problem is that he was only 40 years old when he met Rivka.
37, I thought.
Okay, 37, 40, but no,
No, 40. No, 40.
I also
40.
read,
Okay. Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah. No, 37 Akeda, and then 3 years after. You're right. Yeah.
okay, so
Right.
so then I don't understand the mathematics. So Rivka
No, Mordechai. When they talk about Ishmael's death, it had nothing
is
to
way
do with-
further in the future.
They just talked about it because there was nothing more to say about him. So they finish his story and then they move on.
So they
No,
finished
start
his
off-
story.
No. So it's not true to say there is nothing about him. And Rashi explained why the Torah mentioned the age, to make the calculation for Yaakov Avinu and for the rest of the Avot. That's why the Torah mentioning his age. You can read Rashi over there. Anyway, let's continue here. So he said the born of Ishmael prior to Yitzchak, it's not because he was the first one, the firstborn, right? Ela, but to take out the false of the midah of Ava from Avram, right? We said that Ava, love, have positive and negatives. So the negative went to Ishmael. That's why he was supposed to be born first. And another thing is that the Brit Milah of Abraham was only after Ishmael was born. Hashem didn't want him to be Mahul, right? To have the Brit Milah and then to have Ishmael. So Ishmael was, taking, when he said take the garbage out, so Ishmael took the garbage out from
Right.
Abraham.
I remember I gave you a Dvar Torah about that a long time ago. That Yishmael, what he wasn't born out of holiness.
No, on purpose.
Yeah.
On purpose, right? So that's why. So only after that, Yitzchak could be born. And so the same with Yitzchak, which is the midah of the gevura, right, of the strength. So first you have to take the negative ones, right? So who is taking the garbage out from Yitzchak of the gevura? It was Esav. And it's not a coincidence that actually Esav and Yaakov were together in the same womb, right? Of Rivka, right? So he took it from Yitzchak, and Yaakov received only the positive strengths from Yitzchak, from his father. So which means Esav was not the real firstborn, but he was the Sigim v'Amotarot shel Yitzchak. He was taking out the garbage. And according to that, according to his holy words, right? ועל פי דבריו הקדושים מתבאר עניין, what the Chazal saying in the Mechilta in Yitro, but when Hashem says, right, I am Hashem, and Anochi velo yeh lecha, right? To say, I am Hashem, your God, and there will be no other gods, right, beside me. They said, Anochi velo yeh lecha, b'dibur echad nemru. They were saying in one breath. So we need to explain what's the special madriga when it says in one breath, in one dibur. And what does it make a difference? Ma nafka mina, so, okay, fine. So you said it in one breath. I am Hashem, your God, will be no other. So if you can say it in two words or two breaths, so what's the difference? It says, V'yesh lomar, we can say, She'anochi, I am Hashem, your God, it's including all the mitzvot aseh, right? The permissible, the mitzvot that we're obligated to do, which are coming from the side of love. And should be no other God, right? This is including all the mitzvot lo ta'aseh, that's coming from the era, right? We have to fear Hashem and not to do something that we're not supposed to do. And our sages come and teach us that in one breath they were told us, which means Ava and Ira together, to teach us, to show us that that's the perfection by only having these two midot together. Serving Hashem only with love, peace and love doesn't hold much. Serving Hashem only from fear, a person will go down probably, right? But then if we have together love and strength and ira, then the slavery will be imperfection and consist. And that's the midah of Yaakov, Titen emet leYaakov, because that's the level, the met, the truth. But each midah by itself really doesn't work well. And therefore, Yaakov Avinu was called the chosen, right? Nikra Yaakov Bechir Avot, because he was the midah of Tiferet, which including this in its root from these two midot, Ava ve'ira ke'echad. And this is what our sages said in Masechet Shabbat. Ma'aneget HaShabbat, if you like pleasuring the Shabbat, right? Not yourself. You let the Shabbat to get pleasure from you. Then he says, Notnim lo nachala b'nei Mitzrayim. You will inherit no boundaries, right? No boundaries. שנאמר, וקראת לשבת עונג לקדוש השם מכובד, right? אז תתענג על השם, ואכלתיך לאכלות יעקב אביך, right? And it's not like Avraham and Yitzchak, that their nachala was in Egypt. But Yaakov, he received the nachala b'li metzarim. When it says in the brachot, פרצת ימה וקדמה, right? Like you will go south, you go west, you go north, you go south, right? East. No boundaries, no limits. And the explanation, מדוע מענגת השבת? So if you're pleasuring the Shabbos, why you inherit the Nachalat Yaakov? It says because the Gabe Mitzvat Shabbat. So also Shabbat, our sages in the Mechilta says, Shamor v'Zachor, right? So we have in the Shabbat, when they said the Kiddush, Shamor v'Zachor, what is Shamor? To guard, to keep the mitzvot, right? And Zachor, to remember, to commemorate, right? They were also said in one breath, which is Zachor, to commemorate, this is the mitzvot, which coming from the love side, which is the mitzvot aseh. And the Shamor, to keep, to guard, these are the mitzvot lo taseh, and they're coming from the side of the fear. They were saying in one breath, exactly like, I am Hashem, your God, there will be no other gods, right? And that's Shabbat Kodesh, including these two midot, Ahava ve'ira, like one, which they bring perfection. And we have an opportunity every 6 days to serve Hashem in perfection. And that's the midah of Yaakov Avinu. And therefore, if you have pleasures if you're pleasuring the Shabbat, you're gaining the Nachalat Yaakov. And this is what it says, that Hashem, we said in the Tefillah, that Hashem blessed the Shabbat from all the other days, and He sanctified it from all the time, because that's a special level of Shabbat. And this is how we got to it. Zachor v'Shamor dibur echad. And we started with the question why it says, right, Ele Toldot Yitzchak, the son of Abraham, right? Abraham ulidet Yitzchak. So we understand how the two midot of Ava Ira came to Yaakov and actually came to us, because Yaakov Avinu, right, is the father of the 12 tribes. So, and the tribes actually started the nation, right? So, in order for Yaakov Avinu and for us to inherit the love and the fear in perfection, in balance, Yaakov Avinu should be clean, perfect.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is that Avraham Avinu transferring to Yitzchak, his son, the love and kindness, but he also transferred the negative one to Ishmael. And then Yitzchak inherit from Avraham the love and kindness. And then we said, according to the Psukim, that it's not only father to son, it's also the son of the son, which is the grandchild. So Ishmael took the garbage from Avraham. Yitzchak had two sons, right? Esav and Yaakov. So Esav took the strength, but the negative part from Yitzchak, and Yaakov could inherit from Avraham Avinu that passed it on to Yitzchak, the love and the kindness, Ava, and from his father, the strength. And then he became the perfect one. Midat emet leYaakov. And that was one of the reasons why it says that Avraham was giving birth to Yitzchak, to see how the lineage and the inheritance coming from the grandfather to the father and to the grandchild. And another explanation, that because after what happened with Avimelech, that took Sarah, Yitzchak was born, and the clown, the mockers of the generation said, yeah, they were married for many years, and Avraham couldn't have any sons, and suddenly she was with Avimelech, and now she's pregnant, and she have a child, so guess who is the father? So actually Shem made Yitzchak to be identical to Avraham Avinu, so nobody could make a mistake. So that's two explanations about why the Torah is actually giving us this explanation. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great Shabbos.